Hello. Hello. What's going on, everybody? Lexi, Kipperog, Zai. I keep forgetting you do Feedback Friday streams. I'm just surprised every time you stream. Well, what's going on? Hello, we're here, definitely. Oh no, a friendo. Hello. Yeah, feedback stream. So, if you don't know how this, why did you switch to CSP? I have a license and I've heard it's better for animation, but haven't started moving over from Sprite. I didn't really switch to CSP. What's going on, Germinator? I didn't really switch to CSP. So let me tell you my journey. This is how it went. So great to see you again. Good to see you too, Lexi, or hear from you, or hello. This dog, how you doing? So basically, when I started using art programs, I started with Paint. I started with MS Paint when I was like, I don't know, like 8 or 9 or something like that, and that was on a school computer, and that's where I first got like my experience with digital art. And it wasn't necessarily digital art, I was just drawing with the mouse, and I drew cats basically. So that was over 10 years ago now, which is why I use MS Paint a lot, by the way, for those of you that ask. And then when I started getting into digital art, like I was on the laptop and stuff like that, there was a bunch of programs like the Disney one which was really funny. When I was a kid, there was like the Disney painting program, which was really fun. And then I got into prams, art. And then I got into, so there's Disney painting program, which was really fun. They had like loads of fun brushes on that. If I can find that, I'll definitely use that again because it's just such a fun tool. I'm here, guys. Don't panic. What up, Blobfish? What up, Moonman? You're late? You're not late. I've just started. So then when I started getting into like actual digital stuff, I used Photoshop, I believe. But it was Photoshop and Flash and basically the whole like Adobe suite. So I used that for a while and it's quite expensive. So I used, I started using something called Manga Studio 5 is what it was called at the time. It was called Manga Studio 5. And that turned into Clip Studio Paint, basically. That turned into Clip Studio Paint. So I've been using Clip Studio Paint for a long time. And it's basically been my main program. And the reason I use Clip Studio Paint, and the reason I kept using Mango Studio, the reason I kept using Manga Studio 5 is because the line quality that I was getting, the brush engine was always very, very good. It always felt way better than Photoshop did. And Photoshop was like a premium product at the time, whereas Manga Studio 5 was like a one-time cost thing. It was like £40 or something like that on sale. And then it changed to Clip Studio Paint, like the branding changed and stuff. So I've been using Clip Studio Paint for a long time. And when I started doing pixel stuff, I just jumped onto Sprite. I jumped onto Sprite because that seemed to be a very popular one, and I really like it, to be honest. I think for pixel artwork, Sprite is really good. I really like it. The only reason I don't use Sprite more often is because Clip Studio Paint is just too good. You know what I mean? Clip Studio Paint has a lot of features which I find are very, very useful for reasons such as like workflow. You know what I mean? Like speed workflow. Not just like editing capabilities, and also like screen recording, because obviously I make videos, so that's another thing that I take into consideration. When I take into consideration like how I make videos and how I make stuff, I like to have something which automatically records the screen. Clip Studio Paint does that amazingly. I think if Sprite had an automatic screen record function which worked well, that might take more, because I just love the way Sprite works in terms of like pixel work. But yeah, so Clip Studio Paint is what I've used, and I've used that professionally as well. Red just asked, have you ever worked in the animation industry? Yes, I've done like freelance stuff for the animation industry, like working on animations, backgrounds, characters, and stuff like that, and it's on a lot of projects which have never seen the light of day. But really what I would say now is, if just use whatever works for you, you know what I mean? Find a workflow that works for you. What up, Blizzard? How you doing? Paint just felt like a video game for me as a kid. So much fun. Yes, exactly the same. Sprite has a function to screen record. Not that I know of, no. But there are some plugins which people use to kind of record their process. But I find it just cumbersome, to be honest. I've tried using them and I just don't like that workflow. And it might work for some people, but it really just doesn't work for me. I find like with Clip Studio Paint, basically I start making a piece. Yeah, I can draw it, whatever. And at any point, I can go export video, and I have a time-lapse video, which for someone like me who likes to make videos, likes to post that kind of process online, it's just great. Like, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to set up things. I don't have to set up cameras. It literally just works. And I feel like that should kind of be not a standard, but a really good feature for any art software. Is the screen record something you rely on because of content creation reasons, or an important part of the art process itself? Just for content creation, 100% for content creation. I don't need screen recording for my art process. I just use it for content stuff, which is why my decisions for what art software, you shouldn't really listen to it unless you're planning to do like similar things. But even then, there might be something else which works better. Because I know if I was just starting out, right? If I was just starting out today in digital art, I'd probably go with something like Krita. The problem is with me in Krita is I've tried switching over to Krita from Clip Studio Paint, and my problem is I'm just so good at Clip Studio Paint. I've been using it for so long that like that process of having to relearn another art software and get to the same level, like the level I'm at with Clip Studio Paint is just, I know everything. I know how everything works. You know what I mean? And I don't really want to start again with a software. I didn't mind doing that when I was younger, like early 20s, but I don't really want to start again. This works for me. Like, it works for me. They keep adding new features which work really well, so I'm not mad about it. Every program is going to be the best program for someone. Exactly. Just pick whatever works for you. If I was going to start again, I'd probably recommend Krita though, just because it seems like it has a really good tool set. It's just really nice for digital art. What up, Sanyor? How are you doing? Every program, yeah, exactly. What up, Dom? How are you doing today? But yeah, let's get on some feedback. So if you'd like some feedback, the way this works basically is you submit your art or video games or whatever to the community Discord channel here, and that's it. Basically, you submit it here to the Feedback Friday section, and we'll add you to the wheel. So there'll be a pick a wheel thing, and if you, cool, we'll do that. So please, if you would like to be considered, please say, can you add me to the wheel, please? Germinator, there you go. And if we don't have enough people for the wheel, which is possible, then we'll just go through some of the old ones. Lexi, of course, you may be added to the wheel. And if you can't see the chat, by the way, we've got two chats going on. We've got YouTube and Twitch. Paraditto for the wheel, of course. Can you add me? Bored Owl, of course. So make sure you have your work ready, by the way. Make sure you have your work ready, because we aren't going to wait. What's the point in the wheel? The wheel chooses. The wheel decides. So can I post my feedback now and be added? Yes, of course. So Sano, I will add you in. Hello, what's going on, my hard? Astral, hello. The wheel decides the fate, yeah. Because I only do this for about an hour. I only do this for about an hour and a half. An hour to an hour and a half. And I feel like after an hour, my brain just hurts too much from doing this. And my voice hurts too much from talking too much. So, yeah, we only do this for about an hour. So you might not get selected. Just because you're on the wheel doesn't mean that you will be selected. I just finished a drawing that I would like to have an advice because I'm so bad at doing landscapes. No worries, let's put you on the wheel. Pixmail. I'm late today. You're not late today. Don't worry, Pixel Toast. I literally just started. What's up, Federico? Hello. I have my work ready, but image is really small. I want to make it bigger. So how? Okay. You can either export it bigger with Sprite, or you can go to low spec rescaler, pixel art scaler, pop your work in there, and you'll scale it. Or you can just do it in your art program of choice. But I'd recommend low spec rescaler. It's really good. How big do you need it? Just visible. You know, just visible enough to see. Like sometimes people export like the actual 1 pixel thing, you know what I mean? And then they send this in and I just can't see anything. So as long as we can actually see it. As big as possible, yeah. I won't feel it unless it's at least 9 inches. I mean, what? Speaking of, look at this man that I'm drawing with a big nose and chin. Banned from Twitch. 1024 768 anything, whatever works for you. It ain't about the size, it just needs to work. I've been working on using your feedback from the other week, my Pokemon sprite. Hopefully we'll have it done soon. Hey, no worries at all, Pixel Toast. Okay, so let's get started. Let's do this. By the way, for those of you who are waiting from the YouTube, those of you who are waiting from a faceplant video, it's done. The faceplant video is done, actually. I have tried a new process of creating devlogs that don't take me 2 months to make. And this video took me 3 days to make. So it's a little rough around the edges, but it does everything at me. Okay, Moon Man. It does everything that it needs to do. It updates on faceplant. That's all it does. And that's what I'm going to be doing from now on for devlogs, because that's the whole point in them, right? The whole point is that I spend more time working on faceplant than I spend actually working on devlogs. So the only thing that I need to do now is make the thumbnail, and then I can release it. But yeah, it didn't take very long at all, and I'm quite happy with it. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. What up, Talaba? Oh my goodness, 32 months for Talaba, almost at the 3-year point. 12, 24, yeah, 3 years. How are you doing, Talaba? Hype in the chat for Talaba. Thank you very much for the support, continued support. I know I don't stream, by the way. I know I don't stream as much as I used to with the Monday, Wednesday streams, being like all over the place or non-existent at the moment because of like work and stuff. But I think at some point, I'm going to get back into more regular streams. What up, what up? By the way, I had the best tacos today. Me and my dad went out for tacos. It was legit. Fish taco was the best, definitely. Something about fish tacos. Okay, let's do it. The wheel will speak. Everybody, hold your breath. It's gonna be Sanwo. That explains the daily prompt. Yeah, the daily prompt is taco. Sanwo, please tag me in the Discord with your work. You've been removed from the list. So what you do now is, for those of you who don't know, you would have already posted your work in the feedback. Now, if you just go into your little thing, press @SoulTunes, boom. That will tag me, and we'll go straight to that. No messing around. If you like fish tacos, not everybody, oh my god, everyone started tagging me. This doesn't make sense. If you like fish tacos, you have to try Baja Californian style fish tacos. Never tried that. Sounds good though. Everybody. There we go. Who else tagged me? Whoever this was. Moon Man, don't tag me. What are you doing? Get banned. I don't have much chance to catch streams either, so it all works out. Nice. That's perfect. Okay, so I have been redesigning this character for so long, and it's taking forever. Any ideas on how to improve? Cool. Let's have a look. Love looking at images like this. Let's do this in Paint. Okay, so you've been redesigning. Okay, so when it comes to characters, right, what is it that you're trying to go for? What's your goal? So that's what I always ask with these kinds of things, because, look, I could give you my opinion, but you don't really want my opinion. What you want is you want to achieve your goal. So what is it? Ding, ding, ding. I'm designing an NFT collection. I'm having trouble drawing armor for a small character. What do? I recommend not making an NFT collection and using your time more wisely, like watching my YouTube videos. Good luck. Reference VTS. A more serious answer is reference. Just use reference. Use reference and break it down into simple, the simple art elements. But yeah, NFTs are like, they're lame, man. You're going for some cartoony robot character. Okay, cool. I'm actually going to do this in Clip Studio. I'm already watching your videos. Appreciate it. Boom, 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 boom. Thanks to you, I improved myself. Nice. Well, I'm glad I could help. Okay. So, this character looks cool. The one thing I think that, like... Let's just go through this. So, these are these your, like, improvements, I guess? Is this your, like, is this your process of going from one to the other? Like, do. Is that the way you're doing it? You're taking inspiration from Mega Man. Nice. Always good to do that. Always good to take inspiration. Cartoony style looks cool. I think the head, right? If I look at this from a cartoony perspective, the head really stands out for me as, like, almost perfect. You know, almost perfect. And the body gets a bit complicated with all of the, like, dithering that you've got going on. You got dithering in a lot of sections, a lot of colors going in there. You kind of lose that simple form. So when I think cartoony, I think simple shapes, right? I think simple shapes, simple form. But I could be wrong because I don't know what Mega Man looks like off the top of my head. So let's have a look at a Mega Man sprite. Just as inspiration, we're not going to steal too much, lol. We'll steal some. Yeah. So if I look at this Mega Man sprite, I mean, I guess it depends on the Mega Man, doesn't it? But if I look at, like, the iconic Mega Man, this one, notice how it doesn't have much detail going on. The whole point in this is simple, readable shapes, forms, parts of the body. You know what I'm saying? And I think with your character, you've gone really detailed in everything. You also have, like, this... not really inconsistent outline, because I guess this is a colored outline, right? This is your colored outline for the legs. I was about to say it's inconsistent, but it's not. Salvo, thanks for the follow. Is there a website or forum for reference? I'd probably use something like Pinterest or Google Images and then type in armor, right? And then what you want to do is break down that armor into its artistic elements, value, color, lighting, and try and replicate that in pixel. Basically, that's how you use reference. Yeah, so I'd probably simplify this a lot, especially if you're doing cartoony with cartoony movements. There's nothing wrong with detailed cartoons, like, don't get me wrong, you can do that, but you'll find your life a lot easier if you simplify. Another thing I think about is this dark blue things for the arms and legs on that detail, but the entire body is. You should make orange parts as blue one. I'm not sure what you mean there, but another thing you can look at is, let me have a look at your color steps. So you are hue shifting, which is nice. It's nice to see. You don't always need to hue shift. That isn't a thing that always needs to happen, but that's really cool. I like your complementary colors. You're using, like, a greeny orange, green and reddy complementary scheme, which is really cool. I like to see that in the characters as well. So I can see that you've really thought about this character, which is cool. It's nice to see. A lot of people don't think that hard. And I would just say, if you want it to look more cartoony, just simplify it. Like, you have a lot going on here. Let's try and go with the same. Maybe reduce the amount of color by reusing the screen for the arms or vice versa. Reusing the screen. Reusing the screen? What do you mean? Oh, do you mean this? Ah, okay, yes. Yeah, that's a good shout. Reduced colors. I thought you meant the actual screen. I was like, how are they using the screen? The screen face. I see what you mean. So let's do exactly this. Like, I want to show you how you can simplify the shapes by showing you what you've done, right? Like, if we imagine a cube with your character, this is how the cube looks from this perspective. That's a cube. You've shown me a cube right there. All you need to do is do the same thing with the rest of the body. Like, you've got these added highlights on. There's no highlights on this character's face, so you kind of added too many colors there. Let's get rid of all of that. I know you've kind of got it up in the ear here, but we're going to ignore that. And all of this, by the way, will be seen the best. Be seen the best like that. I would do the other way around. What the light is there and the dark as the inside. Perhaps. But check out this body, right? The body is essentially just a cylinder. The colors. Yeah, I don't know what you mean. It's essentially just a cylinder, or you could break it down even simpler. So you can break it down exactly as you've done here. The original blue of the... okay, I see what you mean. Sometimes it's hard. When I'm in the middle of a train of thought. Do you know what I mean? And you just do the same thing throughout. Like, you've got lots of shapes here complicating it up. Whereas if you look at Mega Man and stuff like that, you don't need that much complication. You just need to simplify, and it will look more cartoony. Okay, so let's take that original blue now. And let's try that out. Like this, you mean. Okay. Yeah, pretty cool. I still kind of like the other green. I still like the other green. But you can, with colors, right? Do you know one thing that you can do? Which is really cool. Is this. You can just hue shift it. Try different things out, you know. You can take one area, do that. Let's try this out. Well, I want to go in this direction. Oh, the red looks kind of cool. That's kind of sick. Oh, but maybe we can try this. Oh, let's take this character now. I'm going to take this blue, and I'm going to take this blue, and let's try a completely different blue. Whoa, dark blue looks kind of sick. Mega Man X. Let's take a look at Mega Man X. And you can mess with colors this way. This is why, like, using these tools is really useful, because you can quickly iterate. And that's, if you're designing a character or anything, if you're designing anything, iteration is going to be your best friend, because iteration is going to be how you arrive at where you want to arrive to much, much quicker. Because you're going to go, okay, well, I like this one. Let's try 4 different color versions. Oh, well, this one's cool. I'll go down this way. I'll try another one. And by the time you've gone down all of these, you'll get to the one that you really like. And that works for your goal. Mega Man X, let's have a look. If Mega Man X is more complicated, I guarantee it's also really simple. By the way. I can guarantee that without having seen it. Yeah, it's super simple. So this is Mega Man X sprite, I believe. Please tell me if I'm wrong. I can guarantee you it's also super simple, and it's very consistent with its rules. So, for example, what do I mean by that? So can you show my feedback from the cartoon robot? Perhaps. So, what do I mean by that? What do I mean by it's also really simple? Well, check out this character, yeah? Everything is doing the same thing. Everything has the same thing going on. It's a basic shape with a shading, right? The rules are simple. With a shading, and it's using a little bit of anti-aliasing. Okay? And it's got an outline. Kind of a broken outline, actually. There we go. Same. I mean, the details of the hat are complicated, but even that follows the same rules. Main color, shadow, anti-aliasing. You know what I mean? And that's how you're going to build this whole thing up. Main color, shadow, anti-aliasing. And it follows the basic shapes, okay? The reason you need a really, to make this work, you need a really good understanding of the basic shapes of your character. So these legs, for example, they're just cones, right? They're just cones. Main color, high, shadow, anti-aliasing. That's the entire thing. So what's going to help you here, and this is the case for any sort of lighting and shading, is an understanding of how to shade very basic shapes. How do you shade a cube? How do you shade a sphere? How do you shade a cone? How do you shade a cylinder? If you can nail that, bread and butter for all cartoony type stuff. For everything, not even cartoony type stuff, but literally everything to do with art. Even super complicated pieces. You know those really complicated pieces that you see on like Instagram and stuff, and you're like, wow, this must have taken years. This is nuts. Guess what? It might have taken a long time, and that's the impressive thing about it. But it is simply fundamentals done well for a longer period of time. That's all you have to understand about pieces which are really technically good. It is the fundamentals of art done well for a longer period of time. That's all it is. That's the only difference between a cartoon, right? If I draw a cartoon like this, and it takes me 10 minutes, okay? And let's say I take into account all of the fundamentals of art and stuff, and I try and fix it up and clean it up. That might have taken me like 10 minutes, okay? And let's say the fundamentals are perfect. A perfect portrait, right, is the fundamentals exactly the same over a longer period of time, sticking to a more traditional thingamabob, like root. So that's what I would say with your character. Like, I don't know what color combinations are going to be best. I don't know what color combinations were best. You can try a lot of different things depending on the thing that you're going for. You could try an outline, definitely, rather than this colored outline. Like, there's nothing wrong with a colored outline, to be honest with you. There's nothing wrong with that at all. You can do colored outline if you want. Typically with cartoons, you see like black outlines and stuff. That could work. Maybe not. It's up to you. You know, it's up to you in the style that you're going for. So I'm not going to suggest anything like that. Do. Who wants to be on the wheel? SD0, of course. You're on the wheel. What up, Kareem? How you doing? Even the sketch looks better than my art. Fundamentals. Really, Goose. How you doing today? My friend runs a higher-end figure drawing course, and video one is how to draw a circle and a sphere. Yeah, I'd probably even start with just a line. Like a line you can do. You know what I mean? Dino Brogo, what's going on? Posted the version with less details. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Do. You've been added to the wheel. Do not worry. What's going on, Fox Gamer? How you doing? Have you considered some pixel joint thing? What is that? East Penguin, hello. Wheel me in, bro. Lexi, you're being added to the wheel. Oh, you're already on the wheel. I'm good, bro. Thanks for the session. No worries at all. What up, Mr. Magius? How are you doing today? Right, let's spin the wheel. I hope that answers your question, but simplify. Focus on the basics, fundamentals. Reviewing the Hall of Fame pixel joint best pixel arts. Yeah, we can do that at some point. Dino Brogo. Huzzah. Wish I had something to show today. Don't worry about it. We do this every Friday. Hello, cool, bold Artman. What's going on, Narcy? How are you doing today? I actually think removing the outlines because that will make the animation easier. Ah, non-outline. That's a cool one too. Cool style to go for. Remember that there is no such thing as right or wrong with styles. There's no such thing. I've talked about this before, but this is something that I really, really, really want to make a video about, right? Where your technical skill, right? There's two different sides of art, okay? I don't know if I spoke about this last stream. I might have done. I like the new traditional art short videos. Thanks, Talaba. I've actually just got this arm. Check this out. This arm. You can't see it. It's kind of off screen. I just got this art to make more of that. That's just been really fun. That's been really fun to do. It only takes like 20 minutes and that it's just fun. So I'm going to be doing more of that. I've got some ideas. Spoilers. And I've got some... I'm actually going to be drawing the next thumbnail. Which is why it's taken me a little long. Like the video, the new faceplant video only took me 3 days to make. But the thumbnail is going to take me a little longer. But I enjoy it more, so I'm just going to do it that way. I've actually thought about doing more traditional stuff for faceplant itself to make the process nicer, but we'll see. Yeah. Dino Brogo, are you on the wheel? I'll add you to the wheel if you want to be. Dino Brogo, you have been added. Make sure to move your arm around a lot between drawing to make it seem like you're imagining things and inspired. Yeah. I do that, actually. Spin the wheel. We're not going to spin the wheel yet. I'm going to talk about something. Do I submit my game in the feedback page and tag it as Feedback Friday? Or yes, you submit in feedback and then tag it as Feedback Friday, and I'll add you to the wheel, East Penguin. So basically, we have a wheel that it gets chosen from. You might not get selected. The pros all do that, I know. I'm a pro. So basically, there's one thing that I want to talk about with art, right? And that's technical skill. There are two, hold on, let me try again. There are two sides to art, right, that I see it as. There's the technical side, your technical ability, and then there's the other side, your expression, okay? And how do I want to say this? In order to make anything, yeah? In order to make anything, you don't need any technical skill. You don't need any technical skill. You just need expression. And you, guess what? You're born with that. You can do that now. However, technical skill is very useful. Okay? Technical skill is very useful to help your expression. That's it. Technical skill helps your expression. If you spend, here's one thing that I see. What up, Nop? How you doing today? What I see a lot is if you have, let's say you're like a level 100. Okay, there are different types of artists. Okay, let's talk about this: technical versus expression. There are different types of artists. Yeah, if you are 100% expressive, and you have zero technical skill, your work, right, it might look more abstract. Might look more abstract artist, but it will be full. And I mean full of your own feeling. And that's really unique. And why is that special? Because that's what makes you stand out from every other artist out there, is that your life, your experiences, your feelings, your thoughts are completely your own, completely unique. And that's really special. The problem with being 100% expression is you might find it frustrating to get your ideas out onto the paper. But what you'll find is there are some artists out there who don't know anything, right? Who don't know anything about color theory in terms of like speaking about it, but they will actually know a lot about color theory or like art theory. They'll know a lot about it, but they'll not know what they know, if you know what I mean. For example, I know how to play guitar, okay? I've done maybe 1 or 2 lessons in my entire life. I couldn't tell you anything really about music theory. I could tell you very little about music theory. However, I can play guitar quite well, and I can make my own songs. So I am mostly expressive with music. I am not technical at all. You can still become good at something without any knowledge. The flip side of this is you can be 100% technical, where you are an absolute master of art, right? You're an absolute master of creating things. The problem with that is, one, it will be very, very impressive. Don't get me wrong. Someone who is technically good is very impressive to look at. Like being able to photo render a pen, like with pencil, that's really, really cool. The problem with that is your work can lack feeling. You know, your work doesn't inspire anything. It doesn't inspire a feeling. It inspires like awe because it's impressive technically, but you might not be expressing yourself very well unless the expression is just being like a master technically. You know what I'm saying? So there's a balance between that. And there's people who are 100%. And this is how this goes, right? In order to become 100, become good technically, you need to practice. Yeah, it's all about your practical skills, because you can be 100% technical, and you can either be very good dexterity wise. Let's say dexterity is the skill. Let's say you're 100% dexterity. That means you're like the master technician and you're amazing at drawing. Or you could be 100% technical, But you can be 0% dexterity, which means you've never practiced. You just know a lot about the fundamentals of art. And do you know what that is? You're an art critic, basically. You know the fundamentals. You can break down art into fundamentals, but you can't create it yourself, or you've never been through the process of creating it yourself. And there's a huge amount of technical skill which comes from just making the thing. You know what I mean? Yeah, just making the thing. What up, fourth page? I've almost been bolding for 3 years. Hype in the chat for 4p. But yeah, that's just something I want to talk about. Like, if you've got a project that you want to work on and you're worried, the whole point in this basically is that if you've got a project that you want to work on and you're worried that, oh, you know, I'm just not good enough yet. I'm just not good enough to work on the project. You can work on it right now. You do not need any level of skill to express yourself, because what you'll find is if you keep that mindset of, oh, I'm not good enough yet, you'll end up like this guy. You'll end up dead because you'll never be good enough, really. No place left on the wheel, or no wheel today? There is a wheel today. If you would like a spot, let me know. So I have a question, sure. I have to walk my dog now. It'll take like 20 minutes. Can you choose me on purpose to be last? If you get chosen, Moon Man, if you're lucky enough. If you get chosen during the wheel now, then I will just skip. With those, I find the process is more engaging to watch than the end piece. Yeah. Yes, Paradito. Yeah, it's like watching a pro play video games. Like, it's really cool. Spin the wheel. We're going to spin the wheel right now. If you ask me to spin the wheel, you will be removed from the wheel, by the way. That's a new thing. That's a new thing that I'm going to add, because that's really annoying. I'm streaming. Let me cook. I'd like to be on the wheel. What should I do? Let me cook. It's my stream. I won't spill the wheel if I don't want to stream. Spin wheel. Spin your own wheel. It's going to be empty. I'm just messing. We're going to spin the wheel. Rotate the disc. Perfect. Put me in the wheel. No. Can you submit more than one? No. Just to keep it fair for everyone. 1 per week. What if we aren't on the wheel and ask you to spin the wheel? Banned. Let's spin the wheel. When I practice technical skills, I find it frustrating that it doesn't express much, but that's okay. That's not the point in that moment. Exactly. It isn't the point. Lexi, what up? Winner. Tag me in the Discord. The point in practicing technical skills I've found is it helps you express yourself more easily when it comes to that. Like, I practice a lot drawing anatomy. And I find now that I can draw anything, right? Like, I drew a duck the other day, but let's say I drew a frog right now. Yeah. I'm going to draw this frog in 5 minutes. And guess what? The frog is absolutely yoked. And that's just because I practiced drawing anatomy when I was a kid, because I wanted to draw superheroes. And the whole point in technical drawing, I didn't practice hands, so you're just going to have to deal. The whole point in doing that, it just helps you express things more. I wanted to draw a yoked frog, so there you go. Can you remove me from the wheel and put me later? Yes, we can do that. But we might not be here, so good luck. I'll get this as a time. Do it. Yoked frogs with shit hands. Yoked animals. There's more coming. Don't worry. There's more yoked stuff. I got a whole comic strip coming. that I'm going to record. Probably not today. Tomorrow. Probably tomorrow after work. But anyway, who won? Lexi won. See you in 20 minutes. No worries. People keep tagging me too much. Who tagged me? Germinator. Don't tag me yet. Lexi, here we go. So I've been working on this game since last October, and I'm also learning pixel art in a lot of ways. I'm limited to using the Hept 32 palette by choice. Nice, good choice. And having problems with making the tavern look more full as well as more taverny. How can I make the space more interesting while still being a background to the characters? With the portraits, I'm looking for more general feedback about how they look and if they're consistent. But if you can only do one, just focus on the tavern art. More info is I'm going for a homely country tavern feel, and since it's all one room, it's quite important that the background is generally pleasing to look at. I'm looking to add some light sources too, but at the moment it is where it is. A lot of work has gone upscaling for this, but I know there's more I can do. Cool. Let's take a look at the tavern. So you want this to be more busy, more tavern-like. Okay. What's the number one thing you can do? What up, Epic Window? How you doing today? How's your game going? What's the number one thing you can do when you want to make something feel more something. Anybody got any ideas what I'm about to say? It's a singular word. I know. What is it? Add more to it. This game looks super cool. Do anything, more beer. Schmeference. That is 100% right. Well, like probably like 90% right. Reference. I want to make this look more tavern-like. How can I make this look like a tavern? Let's take a look at some taverns. That's what you can do. I don't know how to make it look like X. What does X look like? What do I need to put in? So what am I getting from this? I'm getting people sitting around tables. This looks really tavern-like. People sitting around tables, some low lighting, like warm lighting. A lot going on. There's like barrels everywhere. There's seats everywhere. There's little lamps on the wall. Some nice texture on the floor. So lighting is very important, it seems. A lot of warm lighting is giving me tavern vibes. Warm lighting, bottles everywhere. There's just a lot going on, right? There's a lot going on in these taverns. This is someone's interpretation of taverns as well, so you can interpret however you want, but it's busy. How can you make it look busy? People interacting with each other. The big thing that stands out from me, and this is, and your piece is, people aren't really interacting with each other. They're just kind of standing around and there's a couple of tables. Like, what happens if we just go mad with the tables? You know what I mean? It's busy. Copy pasta. You've already got the assets, right? You've already got the assets. Excuse me while I butcher the art here. And already it's looking more like a tavern. Let's add some barrels. I'm going to take these, by the way, and I'm just going to pretend they're barrels for now. Put some seats around the place. Like, it's already looking more tavern-like. What you can do is, I know this is kind of like a top-downy Pokemon-y type thing, but just put some people next to each other, talking to each other. Why is this person by himself? So lonely. There we go. You could like flip them around if they've got a back sprite or whatever. I'm just going to do that to pretend this is the back of them. There you go. You've already got people interacting. And ignore the void. Let's fix the void. There you go. Fixed. But you see how it already looks more tavern-like? The planks are warping. The water damage will bankrupt us. That's Henry. He's an introvert. Yeah. In terms of overall art style, little dialogue bubbles to show. Yeah, exactly. They're just chatting away, like little emote type stuff going on. Like, haha, ding, ding. You know, you see like Sims emotes and stuff. It's a nice cast of characters. Yeah, it's cool. Even just copy and pasting the tables makes a big difference. Yeah, just make it look more busy, right? Like that seems to be what's going on in all of the tavern scenes that we've looked at in the reference. And I didn't do anything special. I literally just Pinterest tavern, and I'm trying to like replicate what I'm seeing. And it's not about copying or stealing. It's just about applying your knowledge of taverns. Now, if you wanted it to be an empty tavern, then yeah, you'd do less, right? You'd have less people in there. But I think more people in there, more people interacting. Yeah, lighting. Yeah, just depends. Lighting depends on if you can do that with your palette, and if you can do it in game engine, or if within your style, right? Like warm lighting is kind of hard to do if you're using a certain palette. Let's take a look at the palette actually, and let's see if there's anything that we could do. And it depends on the style that you're going for. Like, yeah. Hep 32 palette. Hep 32 palette. I mean, there's a bunch of colors in here, but I can see how that could also be limiting as well. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what the palettes are? Not limiting, but you get the idea. You probably don't get the idea, but that's fine. I'm a bit limited. I'll only have 4 characters. I'll only have 4 characters in the bar. That's fine. Make 2 of them talk and make 2 of them by themselves. I think it's hard when you only have 4. Yeah, I think it's hard. By the way, Saul, what is your opinion on AI art and using it in game dev? Are you mad people are doing this? Or are you with using AI? Okay. AI art. Hermit Pixel. Hey, what's going on? How you doing? I'm against anything which is stealing people's artwork and using it. So AI artwork, right? I don't have a huge understanding about it. So AI artwork that takes from people's, that's trained from people's artwork unwillingly, and these people are losing out because of that. I don't like that. Now, if there was a data set, right? If there was a data set built from AI artwork, built from artwork, where each of these people consented to that, they were like, yeah, you can use my artwork to build a model. Each of these people consented to that and perhaps even received some sort of compensation for that. Then I'm like, yeah, whatever. People have consented, use it. I think AI is going to be a huge tool. I think the biggest problem with AI at the moment is copyright. It's copyright, okay? A lot of people say, oh, you know, AI is exactly the same as reference. Well, it's not, though, is it? It's not the same as referencing at all. However, you could still use the copyrighted AI models, I think, as a reference, like to generate some reference and then use that. The problem is, I don't think that's how people are using it, right? I think people are using it like, people are thinking that, oh, I can plug this thing in. I can say X and I'll get out a bunch of different Y's, and I'm going to use this for my game and I'm good to go. I didn't have to do anything. The problem is using AI for reference is also shit. I agree if the data set is copyright, because you're still then supporting a model which is stealing people's artwork. You know what I mean? Picking your own refs and combining them is a skill that's very useful. 100%, yeah. I agree with that. I think the biggest problem with AI is the people who rely on it, right? You're not really doing yourself any favors. Like let's say you're new to art, and instead of learning how to art, you just rely on AI, and you cobble something together with AI. You're not gonna know, right? You're not gonna know how to fix something, how to make something work together, and you're doing yourself a massive disservice, I think. AI should be looked at as a tool, not a solution. Yeah, and I think if we could get to a place where artist A is like, look, I'm okay with my artwork being used as long as I receive fair compensation for it. Who am I to say no to that? You know what I mean? Who am I to say no to that? That's completely fine. And I think, to be honest, what you find with AI-driven artwork, and I'm not the most, what's it called? I'm not the most clued up on this, so please don't take my opinion as like any sort of grain of salt. This is just a thought practice for me. It's a thought experiment right now. But what I've seen it already impacting the industry in a lot of negative ways. For example, the local jobs around me and stuff, a lot of them have gone because people just think, oh, well, guess what? I'm just going to do it myself. Like a lot of those smaller jobs, when I started off as an artist, a lot of the smaller jobs that I was doing, like, oh, can you draw me and my family as a cartoon? Can you draw my pet as a cartoon? Can you draw this, X, Y, Z? Those jobs are gone because people are going, well, I can just put myself in this and it'll generate me as a cartoon. And a lot of people are just doing that themselves. So those like bottom line of jobs are kind of disappearing in that sense. They're not all of them are, because some people still appreciate the hand drawn stuff, definitely, but I think a lot of the bottom end of jobs is dangerously at risk. And I think that's going to happen with all jobs, to be honest, at some point. But we're seeing it a lot now with artwork, which is why I'm happy that I no longer rely on artwork for a job. You know, and to be honest, it's part of the reason, AI is part of the reason why I'm not looking to go into art as a job anymore, because I just don't want to deal with that, man. I don't want to be a prompter and then fixing prompts. So I don't want to be an art director that is trying to direct someone's prompt stuff. I 100% think it's going to be a tool and a really useful one at some point, but I like art. I like making things. I'm with Nop. I like gathering references. I like going all the way back to traditional. You know what I mean? That's what I like. Like, I like traditional stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I don't mind that. I think it's cool. I think it's expressive. I think it's really nice. I think it, you know, but it's going to happen regardless, I think. It's going to happen regardless. AI is just a tool I've been using in an unethical way to make people a lot of money if it's allowed to be that way. Yeah. But I think you also see like a big pushback against it. Like, I think you see like Steam, for example, saying that if any of your artwork is AI generated, then they're not allowed on the store. I think you see just audiences in general. I think a lot of audiences in general can spot when something is AI generated, especially the art community. And a lot of things get like absolutely berated online if they're AI generated. So it's like you're doing yourself you're risking a lot for what? You know what I mean? You're risking a lot for what? I'd rather see something worse. I'd rather see something worse that was like, we were talking about this before when we were talking about expression versus technical skill. Okay, I'd rather see somebody with zero technical skill expressing themselves than 100% technical skill with no expression. And to me, that's what AI is. AI is 100% technical skill with 0% expression, and it's just soulless. You know what I mean? And it feels soulless. No matter how good it looks, it feels soulless. So yeah, just learn to draw, man. It's not that hard. If you want to be inspired, check out PewDiePie. And you don't even have to be good. You know what I mean? You don't even have to be good to express yourself. You can literally pick up a pen and I want you to draw a dog right now, and that will be the greatest dog that you have ever drawn, because that you will, you know, it's cool as to just be able to do that. Bro just raced it high. Yeah, no riz. No riz. Recently bought myself a drawing tablet, €195. Yeah, awesome. That's sick. Do you have any more tips for what I should learn and focus for a better tavern? I think it's hard because you're limited by your art style as well. I think you're limited by your art style. You're limited by, you're saying you've limited yourself with the characters. Like, you're only allowed a certain amount of characters. Because to me, a tavern is full of people, you know, at least what I've learned from reference anyway. So then you're kind of limited with that. I think more barrels would help. I think one thing that's kind of sticking out to me is the background is very high contrast, right? Is the style too simple? I don't think there's such a thing as too simple. I think the thing that with me, with style, there's no such thing as right or wrong, right? It just, does it work for the thing that you're trying to achieve? And this could work completely fine. What it actually reminds me of is, do you remember the early Pokemon games? What was that place called in the Pokemon games where they had, what was that place called in the Pokemon games where they gamble? I want to say Cinnabon, but it's not Cinnabon. Like Cerulean. Is it Cerulean City? Gamble place. What's the gamble place called? Lavender. Is it in Lavender City? Lavender City. And that's what it reminds me of. What the heck is it called? Game Corner. That's right. Game Corner. You are correct. Now, if you look at the original Pokemon Red, I'll go with. Like Pokemon Blue, Red, Game Corner. This is what it looks like. Check that out. It's kind of low quality, but you get the idea. It's a simple tiled floor and people are just standing around. And it doesn't really look like a game corner because they're limited by their style, but it still kind of works. So I think yours still kind of works, but it really depends. Am I being too tight with sticking to HEP 32? No, I don't think you are. I think it's good to limit yourself. You can introduce more colors if you want. But I think it works as well. It just depends on what the overall style you're going for is. You know what I mean? So you had a lot of troubles with background, less contrast. I'm thinking of just introducing midtones. Okay, so basically, you did it to make game dev easier. I would recommend also sticking with that, to be honest, because I'm working on facepaint. That's actually what I'm talking about in my next video, is overcomplicating the art style and it being much more difficult to finish. So I would recommend keeping it nice and simple. Okay, let's take a look at the values here. So when you analyze the values, you can see why the background stands out a lot, and that's because look at the value contrast between these floorboards, right? You have this color, light, you have light. Why is this not working? You have light, against dark. And that really, really stands out. However, your characters, they're kind of more mid-tony. You know what I'm saying? They're more balanced in terms of mid-tone. So they're not standing out as much as this. Like some of them are, and they do when it comes to color contrast, because you've got bright, saturated colors. They definitely stand out there, but your background is kind of taking that away. So what can you do? Well, you can take this entire background and just reduce the contrast. Hopefully this works. You can just reduce the saturation. And obviously there might be, it depends on your palette, right? Maybe it just comes down to changing the color of this. That increases more contrast. So maybe we'll not do that. Maybe we'll try a different, is there a different brown? For example, there you go. We try that brown and now it's less contrast. It just depends. Do you have a shadow on the floorboards that I could use as, yes, for the main line color? Yeah, that's exactly what I've just done there. Change the main line color to that. Let's change, you could change this if you wanted, but I mean, that maybe, there you go. You now have less contrast from the floorboards if you just did that. And now you have higher contrast everywhere else. But it just depends what you're going for, really. Because it still works. It still works. It's just very in your face. How do I send my odds to feedback? It would be an honor. I can add you to the wheel. You're being added to the wheel. And you put it in the Discord. Okay? Hermit Pixel. You put it in the Discord. Add a dartboard. Good suggestion. Just more set dressing, right? More set dressing, I think. So barrels, if you can't add more characters, add more set stuff. So barrels, dartboards, drinks everywhere. Like reference, get a bunch of reference on taverns and see what they've got in there and just start adding it in. Add. Especially if you can't have a lot of characters in there. Because one thing that shoots into my mind is there's a bunch of characters in taverns. You know what I'm saying? Do you think pixel art games are considered low quality because every gamer now is focusing on the art and graphics and people are trying their best to enhance graphics? I think in general pixel art is considered lower quality just because there's a lot of pixel art games that come out. Like I think, but and what do I mean by this? So basically when you talk about like pixel art, in general pixel art is seen as lower quality, but I don't think that's because pixel art is low quality. I just think it appears to be lower quality. You know what I mean? Good pixel art takes a lot of skill, but your average, and I'm talking from an average person perspective, like your average person, right? Your average consumer. We were talking about expression versus technical skill. Your average consumer of games, art, whatever, sees higher technical skill as more impressive. Average consumer. I'm not talking about individual. I think your average consumer sees a higher technical skill as more impressive. And I think they see like 3D art as more impressive than pixel art because it looks more complicated. Your average person does not care in the slightest what a jaggy is. They don't care what a jaggy is. They don't care what anti-aliasing is. Yeah? They just don't care. They don't know what it is. They don't care. They don't know what mixels are. So when you, as a pixel art enthusiast, see something which you would consider to be highly technical pixel art, your average consumer just doesn't see that. So it doesn't really matter. Like take a look at Vampire Survivors, for example. The artwork didn't matter. It didn't hold back the game. And I think pixel art in general, because it's seen as less technically impressive and on average, because if you take anything, right, and you stick it in Unreal Engine, yeah, after an hour, you take anything and after an hour's worth of work, you will have something that looks incredibly technically impressive. What can you do about that? Literally stock things. Stock models in Unreal Engine are technically impressive and they look great. Whereas if you spend 1 hour on pixel art and you don't know anything about pixel art techniques, it's just not going to look that good. You know what I mean? Unfortunately. However, it might be expressed really well. And it's just hard, right? It's hard. That's what I think. I think it's hard. Depending on the situation, 3D may be easier. Can be, yeah. Can be. My biggest regret about learning pixel art was how much lazy pixel art is out there in the wild. You can't change what everyone else is doing, though. Is feedback only for art tonight? For everything, Daniel Pancake. Whatever you want. Art, games, whatever. What are mixels? Mixels are like, let's say you have mixels are when you have different pixel sizes, different pixel grids. So there's one pixel, right? This is my pixel art, and then that's merged with pixel art that's made from like 2 or 8 pixel grids. You usually see it when people export assets. People export assets, and they at different sizes. So you see like an outline which is 1 pixel, and then an outline which is like 5 pixels width next to it, and it just looks off. It just looks off because it's not considered, and usually that's what happens. And however, does that mean mixels could never work, or mixels this big bad thing that you should never do? I don't think so, actually. I think everything is up for grabs. I think every single possible technique can work. I think it can work. I think it can work, and it can work well. It just depends on your intention, and it just depends on what your goal is, what you're going for. It depends on what you're trying to express, right? Because that's the thing about expression, is it doesn't care about your technical skill. Expression doesn't care about mixels. You know, you want something to look messy and mixed up. Guess what? Maybe mixels is the perfect thing for you, and you need to explore that. You need to be open to exploring that, I think. Which forum are you using to submit the artwork? Yeah, there's a feedback channel in the Discord. Just didn't find chat for game dev feedback on the server, only art. Yeah, you can just chuck your game in there, though. We have more artists than game devs, I think. I think it's a waste to learn it because you expect people to have a negative bias towards it. I think just, yeah, don't care about what other people think. That's one big thing as well. Stop caring what other people think. Just start doing your own thing. In that case, give me a feel of my pet dog and a rating of 10 out of 10. I gave it a 10. All dogs get a 10. Depending on the situation. Love your tutorials. Thank you very much, Bulgur. Is there something I don't understand about the pixel parts? Why pixels they don't allow using above 30 colors? Why number of colors is so important in an art? I find that pixel joint is very much about, like, not pixel joint in general, but there's a pixel, like, there's an element of pixel art which is very pixel. I call them the pixel purists. Right, and there's nothing wrong with this approach, by the way. It's just an observation. There are pixel purists who believe that there's a certain way to make pixel art, and what happens when you follow these pixel purists guides, like no jaggies, for example, no jaggies, no mixels, no doubles, you know, under 30 colors and a certain size. What happens when you follow that is you get what I would call a pixel pure image. And that's completely fine. That's a really cool way to produce some nice looking pixel art. It's limited. It looks sick, right? But in my mind, that's just a small portion of pixel art. That's just a small portion of art in general, right? I think, beep, this is art, okay? And pixel pure is only a very, very small part of that. Pixel art can be used in pixel art is just a medium like everything else. It's like painting, it's like painting, it's like 3D, it's like clay. You can do whatever you want ever. You know what I'm saying? And one really good example of this is someone who was big on pixel joint, I believe, called Cure, right? And I always bring up Cure when I talk about this because Cure is a really, really solid pixel artist. But Cure is also a very, very good artist, okay? And what do I mean by that? Is they're not afraid to, they're not afraid to explore the limits of pixel art and try out different things. And there's a very particular piece that I'm looking for here, and it's this. Notice how this is pixel art, okay? However, it's painted. It's painted pixel art. This is exploring the edges of pixel art and adding it to different, and exploring it as a medium rather than something else. Look at that. Every pixel has a different shade. If this was on Pixel Joint, people would go, oh my God, look at, it's more than 30 colors, but look at this very unique. Look at the unique outcome that you get. That is not possible if you are too closed-minded. And that's a massive problem. That is a huge problem with the pixel art purist community. And it's not the actual purists, because they most of the good artists will understand that and they recognize that. The problem is generally beginners who go, oh, you should never do that. You should never do this because so-and-so said you should never do that. But the reality is you can do literally whatever you want. Even an orphan pixel can look good in the right setting. What happens if you use only single pixels? You get something like this. This is another piece that I like to show off by Cure Art. By Cure Pixel. This is a piece which only uses, like, it doesn't use clusters. Like, clusters is a big thing in pixel purist mind. This uses a lot of individual pixels and it gets a very, very different vibe, right? And that's what I'm trying to say. Like, techniques can be used, literally any of them. Any technique can be used. It just depends on the vibe that you're going for, right? This is very, it's very cool. It's very cool. So don't be scared to explore the edges of things, and that's how you're gonna. And be open-minded to different techniques. Don't just close something off. You know, don't just close something off because somebody said you should never do it. Like, who? Tell them to leave. You may leave now, sir. You may leave. You may leave the room. Okay, spin the wheel. You tried HG texture paint thing where you do a high-res pick? No, I haven't. That sounds cool though. So much depth. I know. So I can use how many colors I want? Yeah, you can do whatever you want. They're not crazy. It's just a certain style. How does the wheel work? You get added to the wheel. Paraditto. Congratulations. You get added to the wheel if you would like to be added to the wheel. You may only submit one work. You get added to the wheel. You didn't add me to the wheel. Re-wheel again. I didn't know you were back, Moon Man. I must have missed your thing. There you go. You're back. Long story short, come on, Talaba. I'm allowed to rant. Yeah, ignore the people. Ignore people online. Do what you want. Pixel art purism works well at games, but of course there are a million of different techniques. Guess what else works well at games? Literally anything. Look at pixel art purism. Take a look at what was that? Vampire Survivors. Vampire Survivors looked at pixel purism and went, nah, I'm not about that life. I'm not about that life. I'm just going to do mixels and whatever I want, doubles, jaggies. It doesn't matter. I'm not even going to animate my characters. I don't care. Guess what? It works well for games because they sold millions of copies. It does not matter. Do not worry about what people think online about your style, about the thing that you want to work in. Just work in whatever works for you. Right, this is going to be the last adding to the wheel. Lizard-like, of course, you may be added. It's kind of cool to think that the only rules in art you really have to follow are the ones you make for your style. Exactly. I think the mindset can apply to all forms of art. Some of the most memorable pieces from art is challenging the norm and boundaries of certain... Exactly. Exactly. Pizza Tower art doesn't care. Exactly. I think that's also how a lot of trends are born. Exactly. It is literally how trends are born. There are entire art movements. I forget the name of them. But in classical art, there's entire art movements going against the norm in trends. And it literally creates new stuff. That's how you find new stuff, by being open and exploring. It's crazy. I never used to understand like abstract art until I started thinking about it like that. Oh, look, they're trying something different. Also applies to food. If you like garlic, add it to your carbonara. Italians be damned. Yeah, like there's a way to make Italian the way the Italians like it, and there's a way to make pasta the way Italians like it, the pasta purists, and there's a way to make pasta the way you like it. And that, just think of it like that. Okay. Here we go. We've already done the wheel. Who won? Paraditto. Let's go. Paraditto. Tag me. Tag me, tag me, tag me. Here we go. Felt like doing a spider after playing the game Webbed. Let's go. I've heard Webbed is really good. Let's check out this image. Very cool. Very cool looking spider you got going on here. Roll the wheel again? No. And if you ask, you will be removed from the wheel. Unfair. It's not unfair. I didn't see your message. It was unfair that you went for a walk during my stream. That was what was unfair. This is very cool. What I really like, what I noticed immediately about this piece was a couple of things. The first was the colors. You're using a nice complementary color scheme. Boom, boom. You got the reds, you got the greens. This is really cool. Very natural. Gives me a very natural vibe. And the second thing that I think is really, really sick is your... The second thing which is really, really sick is your shading. You have a really solid understanding of basic shapes which is everything. We were just talking about this in one of the previous ones, but your understanding of basic shapes, how to shade them, is very cool. I think you could even go further if you want. Simple shapes looks great, yeah. You can go further with that, with like bounce light, or adding it to the limbs, for example. Because remember, the limbs are on the same plane. The limbs are on the same plane as the head and the body. And another thing that you can think about, it depends where this spider is, but maybe there's some bounce light going on, maybe not. If they're on a leaf or if they're on their web, there might not be as much bounce light. And also remember about the texture. So it depends on what your goal is, really. Like, what's your goal with this piece? Are you trying to make it more realistic? Is it just an interpretation? Is it cartoony? Like, what's your goal with this spider? But there's one thing that I'm definitely going to say, which is, remember, reference. Reference. It's going to help you out massively. I tried the whole limbs a lighter shade, but doing the top side, yeah, it's just lit like everything else, right? Lit, lol. One really good example you can do for shading something, one really good exercise, you can do for learning how to shade something, is just drawing the basic shapes, right? If I draw in the basic shapes of this, if I draw a sphere and I draw this, and I draw this, and then you apply contour lines to understand the 3D shape of this. So I might do something like that. I might do something like that. It's probably a little bit wrong, but don't worry about it. Probably something like that. Probably something like that. And once you do that, once you understand the contour lines of your basic shape, applying knowledge of lighting is way, way easier, because you're looking at it like a 3D shape. How do you practice that? Very, very simple, actually. You draw some basic 3D shapes like this, and you just practice. You just draw lines on top of them until it looks right. Does that look like a 3D shape? Yeah, it kind of does. Cool. You know? And you can practice the spiral method as well. A lot of people have said practicing spiral method of doing that. And then you can draw lines on top of that so that it looks like, oh, how are we going to go? I actually kind of messed this one up. That one doesn't look very good. No problem. But you'll understand that. The biggest one with this, I think, is cylinders. Cylinders give you a good understanding of how things contour. Because if a cylinder is that way, you're looking at the top. And if you do the same lines, right, but you do it that way, now you're looking at the bottom. You get what I mean? Cylinders are very good for practicing this. Step one, do it, yeah. Yeah, this is really cool. What I'd like to see, and this is missing in a lot of pieces, is, you know, especially here in the background, it's the perfect place. Because in the background, there's always one of these. Anyone know what it is? You can use the same green as well. Make sure you use the same palette. UFO. UFO, let's go. I like how simple and minimalistic it is. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with just leaving it like this. There's nothing wrong with that. It's simple, it's minimalistic, it works. It just depends what your goal is, you know? Depends what your goal is. Embarrassed I forgot the UFO. It's okay. Sometimes you can't spot it. And sometimes when you say you have spotted it, people don't believe you. It's already bold, so you won there. You got the boldness. But you could try adding more. It just depends. What I would recommend is asking yourself that, like, what is my goal with this piece? What do I want to achieve? And look at reference to help you achieve that. Does that make sense? So if you go, oh, well, my goal is to make this, I want to make it look more realistic, for example. Well, what you might do is then start adding more texture. You might go, oh, cool, I'm going to do this. This is cool. I'm going to add more texture. I don't know if this texture works. How would I not know? How would I know what texture works? Guess what you do? Reference. Reference, 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 reference. Simple as that. You know what I'm saying? I think I'd push the body colors a little closer to make it feel more like a whole, but that's about it. Yeah, it's got a very red head. Like maybe, whoa. If you wanted it to feel more like the same spider, Spider Rooney. Just do that. Now it's the same color, minimalistic style. Yeah, maybe this is a bit too light. Just depends. But I would just push it further. I would just push it even further. I might even just make this whole thing red. You know what I mean? I think the red makes it look like the same spider. And it also minimizes the palette. And I think minimizing a palette can make something look more unified. I also mess with the values a little bit. Can we do the same here? You can kind of do the same there. Why not? You read my mind, yeah. That's a pure spider. So I got a really cool idea. Do you have any pixel arts of you and your dog? I don't. But hopefully that was helpful. Reference. Goals. Easy win. For pixel art, use a darker color for an outlined look. You can if you want, yeah? You don't have to. We're just talking about that. All right, let's spin the wheel. Hopefully that was helpful. Let's blast through a couple now, because it's been a while since we've wheeled it up. Boom! Let's go. Oh my goodness, Moonman actually won. Moonman, you actually won. Should have removed you for asking to be spun. What is this software? What, the wheel? This is Wheel of Names. Right, Moonman, tag me. Okay, here we go. Let's blast through a couple. I don't know, I was bored and I searched girls pixel art, then I made this. Fair enough. Nice. This is Clip Studio Paint. Doesn't matter though. Use whatever you want. So you said, I don't know, I was bored and I searched girls pixel art, then I made this. Drew each character in a bit less than 10 minutes. Dark Lord took a little longer. It's bad because I didn't really try it. I don't think it's bad. I think it looks good. I think it looks good. I think you've done a really good job of capturing the shapes of the characters in the small pixel art style. I think that's really cool. You've kind of translated the characters' personalities into that. Like the hair, for example, the hair shapes. That's really cool. You've went with your own colors as well. You've interpreted the colors. Like the purples from this person's hair. That's really nice. Do you have any tips for making big pixel arts? Yeah, I mean, big pixel art, let me just quickly... Big pixel art, it's just a medium, right? Pixel art is just a medium. The further you go away from small pixel art, like small pixel art, I feel like is really, really important for individual... And it depends how big you're talking, right? Like big pixel art is just digital art. Digital art, right? And it depends how much you're focusing on, like super big pixel art, I mean. But if you're talking pixel art that still considers the individual pixel, I think you can hide a lot in small pixel art. I think you can hide a lot of inexperience in smaller pixel art, but you can't hide as much pixel technique. You know what I'm saying? In smaller pixel art, pixel technique, you can't hide as much. But in bigger pixel art, you can hide smaller pixel technique, but you can't hide more general art technique. Like a 1920 1080 res. Well, 1920 1080 res, I would just consider that like more digital art, unless you're looking at every single pixel, but I doubt it for that big. You know what I'm saying? But I think just improve your general art skills. I don't have any general tips for just art, pixel art in general, other than improve your fundamentals. Like if you want to improve any of your art, improve your fundamentals. If you improve your fundamentals, if you improve anything about your fundamentals, your art in general will just improve. Like your idea will improve. Characters up don't have wings and characters down have wings. Last read characters like robot. Look at the reference. Yeah, see that? It's like an enemy demon thing. It looks cool. I think you've done a good job. It's a consistent style. I don't really have any notes for you. I don't have any notes for you because I like it looks good. Perhaps some of the colors are a bit too like lower contrast maybe. I mean, it looks fine still. I'm like struggling here to find something. I think maybe one thing that looks a little off is the shape of this person's ear. Like it looks like you put the hair behind it, but it kind of just looks like a big blob. Just because of when you zoom out, it just appears more of a blob than an ear. So maybe what you could do is add a pixel here just to separate that, or even one more down, just to separate that a bit more to appear more like an ear, if you get what I mean. Question, should I actually learn architecture to draw good buildings and houses? Reference always helps, right? So for example, if you want to make an animal, If you want to draw a horse, for example, does it help to learn the underlying structure of the animal and the anatomy? Yes, it does. And the more that you learn, the better you'll get at drawing a more accurate horse. And the same is said for buildings and houses, actually. If you learn more about architecture and you learn more about the why behind like certain building materials, the time zones of certain materials, that's going to help you design and make better buildings. So should you learn architecture to draw good building houses? You don't have to, but it will help. It will help. You don't have to learn everything about architecture, but a little bit of knowledge will help. For example, when I'm learning anatomy about people and humans, and I wanted to improve my anatomy, I'm not sitting and memorizing the names of the muscles. You know, I'm not sitting in the way that like an actual anatomical doctor might, right? I'm not doing the same type of learning about anatomy that an anatomy expert might learn. I'm doing it from the context of art improvement, right? I'm doing it for what shape are they? What is their function? What do they connect to? You know what I'm saying? I don't need to know what they're called. I call this the croissant muscle. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter for me. It just matters that it looks like the croissant muscle, for example. Croissant. But yeah, I think you did a good job with this. I don't really have any notes for you other than that. The hair's really good. The color choices are really good. It's a nice, cute style, and it works. So I don't really see any problems. This is kind of a creepy character, by the way. Croissant. So yeah, that's what I'd say about that. My voice is starting to hurt, so let's blast through some more. Let's blast through some more. Boom. Bing. Somebody presents an issue, SoulTunes reference. It's huge. Reference is the biggest thing that improved my work, definitely. Just being comfortable with using reference, how to use reference. Pixmail, what up? You have been selected. Tag me. Tag me, Pixmail. Tag me. And this was the character, by the way, for those of you who are wondering. This was that creepy character at the end. Windows landscape thing. Oh my goodness, this is very cute. Very cute. I like it. I love the texture in this. Dude. The chosen one. Edit, paste. Where is it? Where's paste? Oops. What am I doing? What the heck? Oh, create new from clipboard. Cool. This is very, very cool. Very nice. Did I make the body right of the robot character? I think so. I think that character, the robot character, is much more difficult because it's a bit more detailed, but I think you did a good job of getting the overall shapes. I feel like the clouds are like not natural. Okay. Do you want to know how to make your clouds look more natural? Does anybody know the word that I'm looking for? It's kind of escaping my mind. I don't feel like I've said it enough today. Reference. Yeah, reference. So, marshmallows. That's right. You get some marshmallows. You chew on them a little bit. Let's take a look at clouds. What do clouds look like? How do we make clouds look more natural? Okay, cool. Boom. Clouds. So I see this big ass cloud right here. Oh, nice. Someone's drawn a cat in the cloud. That's cute. I see this cloud and it works because it uses, basically, if you squint, right? This is a really cool trick, by the way. For those of you, you can squint and you'll see, if you squint your eyes, you'll see the value structure. You'll see, not the value structure, you'll see the structure. See the structure in terms of the form. You can use this with any type of art that you do. You can also just filter it, which helps if you struggle with squinting. I don't know why you'd struggle with squinting. I don't know. But look at this. If I do this, I mosaic it, you can see now the structure of a cloud very simply. And if I was to break this down even simpler, right? I guess what could I do to do that? Could I change the amount of colors? I don't know how to do that. Excuse me. I don't know how to change the amount of colors in this. I can do it in Photoshop. I'm going to sneeze. Bless me. Posterize. I don't know if this has a posterize. We only have mosaic. Yeah, we only have mosaic. That's fine. Bless you. Thank you. But let's say I do that, right? I'll just do it by eye, by squinting. Quentin Tarantino. I draw the basic shape with one color. I have a mid-tone. And guess what? The mid-tone, it doesn't go everywhere. The mid-tone only goes in places where the light hits, just like, guess what exactly behaves like this? Guess what behaves like this? And can anybody tell me what behaves like this? If you can't tell me, that's fine. A basic sphere. Reference? It's not reference this time. Marshmallows. It's just a basic sphere. This whole thing is looks like you. Thank you. It's just a basic sphere. If you can shade a basic sphere. Boo, boo, boo. If you can shade a basic sphere, you can shade anything. This whole thing, this whole cloud, if we draw it out like this, we can imagine it with contour lines. And it might get a bit more complicated over here because it's got little things sticking out and whatever, what have you. But if we just take it and make it really, really basic, and kind of draw a little idea about contour lines in here, you can then start to shade it like that. And this is a bit complicated because this is like 3D. You've got to imagine it 3D. And the same goes for your clouds. So if we take a look at your clouds, what we see a lot of here is a lot of light everywhere. We see a lot of light everywhere. Cast shadow? Yeah, probably there is some cast shadow from cloud to cloud. So if I take all of these clouds, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this color first of all. Just going to put it there. I'm just going to put it here. We take all these clouds and we just fill them in. And let's take a softer shape. Now, I think there is a type of cloud which is more broken up, but I'm just going to make it a little bit softer just because that's the reference that we've just used. Okay. And then I'm just going to light from one direction. And this one might have more cast shadow on it. And the lower ones might not even have any. Because if you notice in that picture of the clouds, if you look at the reference, notice how in the reference, the clouds lower down are darker. I don't know if that's because of like atmospheric perspective or anything like that, or just because they're not hitting the light or the cast shadow. Besides that, if you had enough money, would you do a hair transplant? No, definitely not. Why? I'm comfortable being bald. I think bald is beautiful. But look at all this reference for clouds. That's all you need to do. Reference, reference, reference. Basics. Fundamentals and reference, and that's it. Fundamentals, reference. Fundamentals, reference. It's literally the answer to everything. This whole stream could just be fundamentals, reference. UFOs. Fundamentals, reference, UFOs. Off to do some shopping. No worries, Paradito. Thanks for hanging out today and for submitting your art. But I hope that helps. Reference and reference fundamentals. But other than that, I really like your style. I really like this. The My Computer stuff. It's really cool. I think your texture in the grass is cute as well. I like how you keep it consistent throughout. It looks nice. I like the difference in texture between the grass and the clouds. Glass. Rock. It's really cool. Okay, let's commit to 3 more wheel spins. Okay, 3 more. Boom. Who we got? I'm going to do them right now. Blast them. Oh, lizard-like. Number 1. Do. Tag me. Let's do this. Speed zone. Bored Owl Studios, number 2. Tag me. Last but not least, we got Guetas. Let's go. Tag me. There you go. Sorry to everybody else. You did not get selected today. Next time. Next Friday. Thank you very much, Moon Man, for writing that down for me. I appreciate that. You're not going to get banned anymore. Tag me on the Discord. Let us go. Who is this? Bored Owl Studios. Oh my goodness, Bored Owl. check out this owl. First time pixel art, but I want to know how to get better. So please tell me how to improve. I feel like something is missing. What's your goal? You're saying you want to get better, but do you mean in a pure pixel kind of mindset? Do you want it to be better pixel wise? Do you want it to look more like an owl? Like, I think this is a really nice pixel art piece, firstly. The whole wheel spin took place during an ad break. Get wrecked, everybody. Did I make the body of the devil good? Yeah, I think so. So close. Toothpaste ad featuring gap teeth. Nice. So, yeah, I think overall you've got a nice piece here. I think with pixel art, I mean, what is your goal? Like, it works. You've got some nice anti-aliasing going on. You've got some darkness going on. You've got like a broken outline with the top side being lit, so like selective outline. I think it's a solid owl. I think, you know, you got nothing really to worry about here. What could you do to improve? I don't know. What's your goal? Like, do you want to make it look more 3D? If you want to make it look more 3D, then just practice your fundamental shading. Like maybe I'd darken more, you know? Maybe I'd darken more areas and not be scared to add a little bit of cast shadow and stuff. You know what I'm saying? It looks like he's got a beard, but you get the point. Like maybe I wouldn't be scared to add a bit more shadow there. But it's make it cute. Bearded owl, yeah. Or perhaps you want to improve your readability. So if you want to improve your readability from a small size, then perhaps I'd focus on less detail. But I mean, the detail of this piece is quite nice. Maybe you want to improve the realness or how an owl looks. Then maybe you want to focus on like proportions. Let's try and look at how do you look at the proportions of an owl? Can anybody tell me? It's very, very simple. You look at the reference. You know what I'm saying? It really depends on what you're trying to improve. If you want to improve a pixel, just make more art like this and you will improve. Like, you're already very good at pixel art. You're very good at art from this piece. You're using limited colors, which is smart. You're trying to improve, which is smart. I think, again, how do you improve? Fundamentals. Fundamentals. And an understanding of 3D is going to help you make your pieces look more 3D. There's nothing wrong with there's nothing more wrong with a more flat looking piece. But if you want to improve technically, then you improve your technical skills. You improve your technical skills by improving your fundamentals. Your lighting, your understanding of form, lighting, shadow, your understanding of line, your understanding of pixel art techniques. Once you understand and try and apply those things, you'll get better. But really, it feels like you've got a good understanding already of art and you just need to make more art and you will improve over time. That's one thing that nobody tells you about improving technically, is that you have to put in the time as well. There is obviously the practice that you got, like the knowledge wise. Yeah, you could spend a day, right? You could spend a day reading a book about art and your knowledge will increase like this. But there is a side of art that you have to improve, and that is, if you want to improve actually doing it, you have to just make more art. You have to just make more stuff, you know? Like, you're not going to go from A, beginner, to B, absolute pro from one piece. If you try and do that, you're going to find it very, very frustrating. I try to do that with digital painting, and it was incredibly frustrating. That's what happens when you try and have a huge amount of knowledge. When you try and learn a huge amount of knowledge from one piece to the next, that can be really frustrating because you don't really know how to apply it. But if you just trickle in the knowledge over time, right? If you just add in little bits and things that you want to improve on, like, okay, next time I make some pixel art, what I want to do is, my goal for this pixel art is to make it look more 3D. So then you'll go, okay, what do I need to do to make something look more 3D? If you want to make it look more 3D, then you try and improve the form, don't you? You try and improve the form. So what I'm going to do with this piece, I'm going to focus on that one thing. And then you will have improved at applying form to something. And then the next piece you go, well, I'm going to improve my colors. But specifically, I want to improve the colors of my outlines. That's what I'll focus on the next one. And over time, you'll get really, really good. Okay. The wheel. Who was next? Thank you. That made my day. I was thinking it looked bad. Of course not. Look bad compared to what? That's a really nice owl. Don't compare yourself to anyone else. Like, you made a really nice owl there. It's even worse if you have lots of knowledge. You can trick yourself into thinking you're so much worse than you are because you can see all your technical mistakes. Demotivating. 100%. 100%. Like, knowledge isn't... You don't always need the knowledge. It's more just about making things. Can you add me to the wheel? Real Goose, we're done with the wheel for today. We've only got 2 more people to go through, and then we're done for today. So next Friday, we'll add you to the wheel. Who was next? Art is super hard because your taste starts so far ahead of your skill. Exactly, because if you're inspired, right? That's a really good way to put it, TJ Mac. If you're inspired to be an artist, you're usually inspired by another artist or something. Oh, gifted a tier 1 sub to Ball Out. Thanks so much, Tweet Scroll Parts. I appreciate that. Hype in the chat for the gifted sub. If you're inspired by an artist, you're inspired by their skill level as well. And you want to try and achieve that level of skill. But you've got to recognize that the artist that you're looking at has probably been doing art for a while, you know? They've probably been making art for a long time. And you trying to achieve that level of skill when you're just starting out, like, it's not going to happen. Plus, your path and your journey and everything is going to look so different. So get inspired to make art, definitely, but spend more time creating stuff. Burner, what up? Hello. Right, 2 more. Who we got? Who was next? We had 2 more. We had who did we have? Lizard-like, I think. Feedback Friday. Who's this? We got Guetas. Here we go. Guetas and then Lizard-like, and that was it. Thanks for following, Ibism. Appreciate you. Okay, Waterfall. Oh, yes, look at this. Tasty. Look at this tasty-looking waterfall right here. Very nice. Very cool. Love the texture you got going on here. It's very cool. You said you feel like you messed up the rocks. I don't know. The rocks look very rock-like to me. The one thing that I think, and there's nothing wrong with this, by the way. You can have this perspective. It's cool. It works. But if you want it to look stronger perspective-wise, because the trees look kind of flat, and this looks like a top-down perspective, and this looks flat, like a front-on perspective. And the way you improve that is you just learn more about perspective. If you want to improve that, that might be the goal. I don't know. I love the texture of the water. I love the texture of the rocks and the trees as well. I think you've done a good job there. The perspective, like I said, looks a little off, but again, that just depends on the perspective. It's really hard to make a top-down perspective like this because you have to know, like, it's a 3-point, perspective, right? You've got your 2 points, and then a 3rd point somewhere. Except this one is like more zoomed in there. It's really hard perspective actually. Why is there one single pixel black on the bottom right? There is. Oops. I don't see it. I don't see it. Pond should cut at a sharper angle for perspective, yeah. But overall, it's a nice scene, you know? Overall, it's a nice scene. I see this pixel here. There's like 1 pixel on the tree. Like 1 pixel there. This is what people call orphan pixels, by the way. Where Prime, TJ Mag with the Prime. Thank you so much. Hype in the chat. I appreciate you. Hype in the chat for TJ Mag Sexy. Let's go. Thank you so much. This is what people call orphan pixels, where basically there's a single pixel standing out and there's no real rhyme or reason for it. That's why people call them orphan pixels, because it doesn't really add much and it takes away from the grid. It takes away from the pixel art grid because it's not part of a cluster. That's what people call orphan pixels. And so if you want it to appear like it's part of the cluster, then you just cluster it, basically. There you go. It now is no longer an orphan pixel. And it doesn't stand, well, it stands out because I've added more, but it doesn't stand out as much. So as for your tree shading, it's exactly what we were talking about before. Basic 3D shapes, basic spheres. A tree is just a sphere. A tree is just a sphere on a cylinder. People try and overcomplicate it, right? But a tree is just a sphere on a cylinder with smaller spheres on them. That's all a tree is. You don't have to worry about trees with smaller shapes in them. One cool tip for all artwork is big to small. If you work in that way, you don't have to work in this way, but working big to small can help you with everything, literally everything. If you focus on your form first, right? So, okay, here's my tree. It's a cylinder on a sphere. There we go. I like that. I like that my basic tree is fine. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to shade this in. Okay, boom, 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 boom. Going to add the shadow in. Oh, this is cool, looking nice. Going to add some highlights in. Oh, that's cool, looking nice. Oh, some highlights on this side. It's got some cast shadow there. No problem. No problem. We will do the cast shadow underneath. Boom, boom, boom. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And we're going to work on the medium details. Medium details. What I want to do, I want to add some more trunks here. Maybe we'll make the tree look a bit more natural. Let's add a little bit more to this tree, actually. Boom, let's add a little thing there. Boom, boom. Let's add some more shape to this. No problem. Okay, no problem. Cool. Tree. Nice. And I'm going to start to shade this bit in. It's kind of cool. And now I'm going to go even further. And I'm going to go, okay, I want all the small details now. I want like little twigs. I want like little cut out things. I'm going to try and stick to my main form. I'm going to add little bits of leaves in here, like an idea of like twigs and things coming out. I'm going to add some nice detail here in the light. Like, oh, what if this has got like a nice pattern on it? Nice detail in the pattern. Bing, 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 boom, 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 bing, boom, 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 boom. There you go. Boom, 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 boom. And all of a sudden, you've got something which looks more like a tree. Big, medium, small. Is pizza a circle or a bunch of triangles? Pizza is a cylinder. Pizza is a cylinder with cones. With flat cones. Or what are these called? What's this shape? Prism. Pyramid. Is it pyramid? Pyramids with cylinders on the end. Wedge. Yeah, it's a wedge. It's a wedge with cylinder on the end. If you want to think, if you know anything about 3D art, that's how you would construct it in 3D art. That's how you kind of think of making things 3D. But anyway, your piece is really cool. The colors are really nice. It looks really calming. Perspective, I'd probably look into if you wanted to make it look more realistic, more believable perspective wise. But I think your textures are fine. I think your rocks are cool. Again, if you want to improve anything, how do you do it? You check out the reference, you break it down into its visual components, and you try and follow that. So that's what I recommend doing. If you're not happy with the rocks, Google some rocks. There you go. Last but not least, lizard-like. Show us your artwork. Tag me. Tag me, tag me, tag me. Tag me in the piece you would like me to look at, or the game, or whatever it is. Here we go. Do it quickly. Does the movement feel smooth, and does it feel overall impactful? For some context, the title is 10 Ways of Getting Over a Ledge. Oops. Hold on. Do it quickly. Boom. Nice. Do it slowly. This is very slow. There's audio. I probably won't play the audio. Fly. Okay. Break the wall. Very nice. Rip the fabric of reality. What's up, Cloudy Gaming? How you doing? This is nice, by the way. This is cool. Jump? How was that a jump? That was a jump? What the heck? The animations are solid, yeah. Lizard-like, you always got solid animations. Rotate gravity, love that. That one's fun. Climb again. Rewind time. This is nice. It's got a bit of story to it as well. And that starts from the start again. Smart. I like that. Yeah, that's solid. This is very cool. I do think your animation's good. I don't think I need to give you any feedback, really. I think it looks solid. I think it looks solid. So as a bonus, folks, we'll do one more wheel spin, since that one doesn't really need any feedback, in my opinion. Give me your names real quick. Thanks for checking it out. No problem at all. Thanks for submitting. Moonman, you've already been. I started Pixel Art 2 weeks ago and I participated in some of the daily challenges in Discord. I was searching for in real life photos on Google and turning them into pixel art. I thought I was cheating, but turns out it's just called reference. Yes. Goose, let's go. David, let's go. Who else? Just see it and rate it 1 out of 10? No. No. Dino? Oh yeah, you were on it. If you were on the wheel, but you didn't get selected, you may. We may go again. You may be on it again. Spicy boy. Do. You have 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Epic window. 2, 1. Boom. Tree scroll plants. What's going on, by the way? You said, I think the wall needs to look more like diagonals with the light part extruding, the shaded part receding. The base should have down. Yes. Sorry I missed your comment, but I do agree with that for the last piece. Feel free to put that feedback in the Discord as well. 5 wheels enter, 1 comes out. Let's spin the wheel. Gonna work on something. No worries, lizard-like. Have fun. Oh my goodness, it's Epic Window. Hype in the chat for Epic Window. Removed. Boom. Epic Window, what would you like to share? Tag me. Tag me on the Discord. Easy win. Easy win. Nothing? You just wanted to be on the wheel? Okay, fair enough. Nice win. Right, let's spin again. Goose! Goose. Congratulations. Congratulations, Goose. You have won. Tag me. Tag me in the thing on the Discord and then we're good to go. Boom, boom, boom. It's concept art. That's completely fine. Concept art, Pirate Town. Oh my goodness. Look at this. Just tell the no submission to use more reference. Yeah, look, Epic Window wasn't bold enough. No UFOs. Please use more reference. Look at this piece. This is sick. You hand drew this? I like that. Love that. I love to see hand-drawn traditional artwork. Very sick. You're learning. This is where it starts, folks. This is where it begins. This is cool. It's got a really cool style. I can see the pirate vibes going on, especially with the skull crossbones going on. Pen only, let's go. It is cool. It is cool. One of my favorite things to do is just get really bad pens, these pens, and then just boom. Things going well. I like feedback. Well, I like you, Tree Skull Pants. Thanks for hanging out today. This is sick. Is this Luffy? Is this like inspired by that pirate show, One Piece? Is it One Piece? How much time do you think needed to get good? Like how many hours? Depends on how you use the hours. You could spend people say that it takes 10,000 hours to become like a master at something or whatever. But if you spend 10,000 hours, I don't think you can spend 10,000 hours like I think you can spend more time wisely. So for example, when I played Counter-Strike Global Offensive, okay, I have about 4,000 hours in that game. I'm not a pro, right? But the first maybe 500 hours, I'll say, were like just playing the game, whatever, it didn't matter. After that, when I started to get really invested, I started to learn like tactics. I started to learn like techniques. I started to practice. You know what I'm saying? I started to play with people who were better than me, pros. I started to play with pros. And my skill level improved way more in the second 500 hours than it did in the first 500 hours. So I think you can get better quicker if you use your time more wisely. And TJ Maxx said, what is good? And that's very, very good way to put it as well. What do you mean good? If you're trying to improve technically, I think you can improve technically faster because you can, if you focus more on techniques and fundamentals. But you can get better in terms of expression. That's really hard because sometimes you have to forget your technique to express better. You know what I mean? You can work really, really hard at your technique, and you can lose that expression because you're too robotic. You're too worried about making things look good from a technical standpoint than to feel good from an expressive standpoint, like Epic Window said. Is art learned or born with talent? Can a person who has no talent like me be the best artist? 100%. Be the best artist? Now that's a stretch, because best artist doesn't exist. Can you become a better artist? 100%. Can you become a better skilled artist with nothing? 100%. The only reason I learned art, or the only reason that I have become better technically at art, is because I've put the time in. The only reason I'm trying to get better with expressive art is because I'm trying to make more things that are true to me and my experiences. You can make art at any time in your life. You can make art about anything. You don't have to have a certain level of skill to make any art. You can make art right now. And you don't need any talent for that. And you can learn technical skills by spending time looking at technical skills. Prove yourself for being bold. Yeah, you need to do 1,000 push-ups every day, 1,000 sprints, 100 meters, and pick up a pencil with your pinky finger. If you can balance a pencil on your pinky finger, you're a good artist. Is it just me, or is 4K is wild? Yeah, 4K is wild. Your 5K in Dota 2, yeah, it's wild. Multiplayer games will suck your life. Not in a good way. Hard work or talented, what is better for you? Talent doesn't exist. I mean, some people are better. Some people definitely gravitate towards things more, I'd say. But hard work 100%. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. That is a good quote for that. Any advice how to find ways or places to get better on technical art? Fundamentals. There's about 1 million books, right? There's about 1 million books on everything you need to know about fundamentals. Lighting, color. Like, just find books. And I mean books. Why do I recommend books and good books? Because books are generally better than internet resources. Because internet resources, right, you have this problem with online tutorials in that you cannot verify what that person is saying. There's no verification process. And in a lot of ways with books, there isn't. However, books that have stood the test of time, where they're constantly being recommended over and over and over and over again by different artists throughout generations, that is much more trustworthy than Joe from YouTube who goes, never ever do mixels. Because the problem with that is you're then going, oh, I should never do mixels, that's bad. But really, that's closed-minded. So what I'd recommend doing is learn from as many sources as possible and pick a topic at a time and just go for it. You want to learn about anatomy? Find the best books that people recommend about anatomy. I would personally recommend like Bridgman. I'd personally recommend, what's that other guy called? I don't know. Anatomy for Sculptors is a good one as well. I'd also recommend, what's that other guy called, man? Loomis. Those three I'd recommend. Bridgman, Anatomy for Sculptors, and Loomis. And you don't need all of those, but it helps to look at different styles, because some people swear by the Loomis method, but some people don't like it. What's your accent again? Kind of Newcastle-y. Kind of Geordie, kind of not. It's like soft Geordie. Talented artists often fall behind, even because they don't learn to learn. Hard work is still necessary. Yeah, you have to learn how to learn. Any book recommendations for the fundamentals of pixel art? Pixel Logic. Pixel Logic is an online PDF written by some pixel artists. The problem is, I don't know if it's this book, but be careful. What I recommend, like I said, with anything is just verify. Verify with other sources and your own learning. Verify with other sources and your own learning. Fundamentals of pixel art. Yeah, so the fundamentals of pixel art, I kind of took it to mean like pixel art specific techniques. Like there are pixel art specific techniques like doubles, jaggies, mixels, all that rubbish. Yeah, anti-aliasing. But your fundamentals of art will transfer to all mediums. Like pixel art, you have to remember, is just a medium. It's just a medium, just like painting is, just like drawing is. And if you learn the fundamentals like lighting, color, perspective, line, shape, contrast, all that stuff, that will apply to every single medium. And you'll actually learn things better if you practice multiple mediums, I think. But anyway, we're talking about this pirate piece, and I think it's very, very cool. It actually has a really unique style. It's very interesting. What I want to see more. I want to know more about this character. This interests me. This interests me. This does. This is an interesting piece. I want to know more about the character. I want to know more about the world. So perhaps what with concept art, right? I think concept art is really cool to express something about your world, to show something in a quick way. We've got a big view of this character. We can see that they wear a long coat. They have a massive sword. They've got this. I'm not quite sure what this is. Maybe a bag or some sort of, I don't know. It looks like a bag to me. Looks like a bag to me. But the character looks kind of shocked, kind of scared. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm not sure what's going on in this world, but it's cool. I like it. So I'd like to see more. 1 second, everybody. Okay. Can you please show us your best art? I'm invested. Okay. So a long time ago, but keep up making this work. To finalize my pieces on this, my thoughts on this, keep making work like this. I want to see some more. I want to see some more. A trunk? Oh, nice. A trunk? I like it, Goose. I want to see some more, Goose. Keep making concept art like this. Yeah, my parents are from the East and West Coast America, so my accent is a random mix of the two. I sound like from a place that doesn't exist. Yeah, so my accent, I was born in Chester, and then I grew up in Newcastle. So I've got a little bit of the Newcastle accent, but I spent a lot of my childhood playing video games online with people from different places like Denmark and Sweden and stuff like that. So I kind of softened it. I do code switching a lot. So if I talk to someone who isn't a Geordie, which is what it's called, I soften it a lot. So when I'm online, I soften it. But when I talk with people who are Geordie, it gets stronger. It's called code switching. So this piece, I'd say, is my best technical piece. And this is what the difference is. This is my best technical piece. I did a digital painting of this. It took me hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. And it's definitely my best technical piece. It took a long time. And there's a lot. I could do this way better today as well. But this was for motorcycle patch. My dad's motorcycle club. And someone actually got this tattooed on the back of their head. Which is mad. So yeah, I'd say technically that's my best piece, and it was really challenging. But actually, technically, this piece was one which challenged me massively, and I could do this way better today as well. Maybe I'll do that at some point, like remaking my work. This challenged me hugely because the gold was such a challenge, right? My goal for this, remember how I said earlier in the stream, I said I tried to challenge myself by learning a lot of knowledge and then going from bottom to top, like going from A to B. From like noob to a certain thing to good at it. And that is really, really hard because I had to learn so much about metal and reflectivity and stuff that my skill was just nowhere, my knowledge and skill was nowhere near the level that it wanted to be. You know what I'm saying? It was nowhere near the knowledge that I wanted to be. So I spent a huge amount of time trying to improve that. And I did a lot of like digital art studies and digital art practice. I think I look too much at art like that and I get frustrated because I can't draw like that. I think you got to understand that I've been drawing, right, since I was a kid. Like since I could hold a pencil, I've been drawing. My favorite art, if you ask me right now, it's the one that I made recently, okay? This piece, I'll show you. This piece, right, technically it isn't the best, okay? These pieces, this one, for example, the duck, right? It isn't the best technically, but I was completely just in the zone, doodling and having fun. And that's what I love about art, you know? That it was just expressing. It was just expressing having fun. You know what I mean? And I love that. Like, I love that about art. It's the same with this piece that I made. I get into a zone, right? When I get into a zone, the most fun that I have is just not worrying about it, like not worrying about technical side of things and just having fun with it. And I think once you can do that, like when you get into the mindset, like for me, a lot of my art journey, right? A lot of my art journey growing up and doing art, like I first started making art to draw things and it was fun. And eventually I got to a point where I wanted to be better technically. So I spent a lot of my time like learning fundamentals, learning stuff and learning and practicing and learning. And then art got really, really frustrating. Yeah. Art got really, really frustrating. And it wasn't really until this piece here where I was like, do you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. I'm just going to make it messy and scrubby and I'm just going to explore. And I had a huge amount of fun making that. So I think my journey was like, I'm a kid. I just want to make art. It's going to be fun. This is really cool. I'm going to draw superheroes, lol, lol, lol. But in order to get better at drawing superheroes, I had to learn anatomy, right? So I spent a lot of time studying anatomy and learning all that stuff, blah, 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 blah. And then I had to learn how to be a kid again. I had to learn how to be a kid again. And that was just getting rid of the not getting rid of the technical knowledge, but like not focusing on it and focusing more on having fun. Using tape is pretty slick though. What do you mean messy? Well, there's still a process, right? I'm still a pro. You know what I mean? I still have learned things over the years. I still have learned things. Nice motion on the goose and the moon. Are you familiar with Map Crow tutorials? I think you may have fun with that isometric pen stuff. I feel like that you're gonna have like a process. Yeah, exactly. Map Crow tutorials. You've got to learn your instrument, then you practice, and then when you finally get up there on the bandstand, forget all that and just wail. Yeah, basically. I have more fun now when I don't think about it. I have more fun when I don't think about it. Like if I'm gonna draw something now, like recently I've been drawing cars at like this perspective for some reason, and I just like doodling them like this. Like I'm doing this with a mouse right now, and it's just fun, man. And I don't know a lot about cars. If I wanted to improve this, right? If I wanted to improve my car drawing skills, what I would do is I would sit down and I'd build my visual library. So how would I improve my cars? I would sit down and I'd build my visual library. And how would I do that? The quickest way that I can think of. The quickest way that I would think of to do that is to just draw a bunch of cars. And I'd get a bunch of references and I'd draw a bunch of cars from different angles. And what I'd learn by that, my visual library, like my head, my brain, this is me, my brain would go, oh, do you remember that thing? Remember that thing that car has? Remember that thing that car has? Let's add that. In your opinion, what do you believe is the most challenging aspect of art? Shading or shaping or what? The most challenging aspect of art is continuing to do it. Despite everything. If you can find a way to just make stuff, you're laughing. Like, because the number one thing with art is you will definitely get better at expressing yourself and your technical skill if you just put the time in. You just put the time and effort in. You'll definitely get better. Like, you'll feel like you're leveling up. Like, my art when I was a kid, like, technically I've gotten way better. Expressively, I might have gotten worse, actually. But I'm trying to get back to that, you know what I'm saying? But the hardest thing with art is just making stuff. The hardest technical thing, for me, it was color. Like, learning color theory was really hard. I struggled with that. And I think everyone struggles with that. They struggle with different things. Like, I know a lot of people who struggle with perspective, for example, whereas I found perspective to be incredibly simple. I think the hardest thing is the hardest thing to draw is drawing a character in an action pose, foreshortened, in perspective. With realistic lighting. Like, that's really hard. That's really, really hard. But it's just because I haven't done it a lot. There are some people who will have done that. Like, if I focused specifically on drawing a character in an action pose, foreshortened in perspective with realistic lighting, I'd get it. I'd get it in a couple of weeks. And that's what I found with everything. When I sucked at color, I spent so much time just reading color and light over and over and over again, practicing with color, looking at tutorials on color, looking what people did with color, looking at different artists' approaches on color. And I just got it. Yeah, I just clicked, and then there you go. I know how to do color now. I know color theory now. Discord, you got it. Do you have Blender or Maya? Blender. Don't really use it though. What do you do when you think you want to do something but you feel uninspired? Get inspired. Or just do it anyway. Pick one. Don't want to do it, feel inspired. You have two options. Do it anyway or get inspired. How do you get inspired? Watch films. Take a break. Watch a movie. Play games. Look at other artists. Some people struggle with putting an extra U in the words that don't need them. Lol. Right, folks. That's going to be it. Any more questions? Any more question time? Is there any art that made you say, wow, this guy's really good. I'll never be able to draw something like that? No. No, because I feel like I have an understanding now of... I feel like I have an understanding, and I'm not trying to say this in like a cheeky way. I feel like all art, all of it, can be broken down into... And let me say technically. The technical side of art can all be broken down into fundamentals. Doesn't matter what it is. I think what I look at and I go, wow. What makes me go, wow, is not something which is like hyper-realistic drawing. An AI can do that, right? I don't care. An AI can do a hyper-realistic drawing of something. That doesn't really impress me. What impresses me a lot is when someone is able to express something in their art, like a feeling or an experience that they've had. And that art doesn't necessarily need to be technically amazing. What is kind of crazy is when you see something that's technically good and it expresses something. That's like, holy, this person has put in a lot of time to improve their skills technically, and they're expressing something. That's like really hard to do, because usually it's really hard to find a balance between something which is technically good, because it can easily become bland. You know what I mean? It can easily become bland. So I think I look at things and I go, I could never recreate this because it's not my experience. You know what I mean? I have not had that experience in my life, so I cannot possibly recreate what they've made, because that's their life, that's their experience, that's them putting something out there from their soul. You know what I mean? How old are you? 29. How much buttons, including left, right, and scroll? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 including scroll click. Amelia, thank you for the follow. You're going to do more live? I love them. Every Friday we do feedback. Monday, Wednesday, sometimes do it on Twitch, though work has been crazy, so we haven't been doing that lately. All right, you are younger than me. I'm also bald. Which is really useful for Sprite when I need to do copy paste or undo redo something. All of them. Learn every single shortcut. Never make any art. Just be really good at shortcuts. I was trying to think of people I watch as older. Do you actually? That's kind of crazy. I never thought about it like that. I guess I do the same. I recommend it if you guys are good with pixel art. It can be easy for you if you have like 8 buttons on the mouse. I predict you will look the same in 25 years as you do now. I think I look better. I think as the years go on, I just get better and better. More muscular. Just bolder. Like more bold. Like the bolder I get, the better I look. It's actually mad. Don't know why, I just do. Maybe something about being the youngest. Could be, yeah. Could be. He'd done 100 gestures, 100 perspective practices, and 100 speed paints every day until his hair fell out. I need to do more speed paints, actually. I need to study more. I'm going back. I want to go back into my like study era. Like I remember a time when I didn't. I'm just scared of it. I'm just scared of it because when you study too much, your technical skill improves, but you kind of lose something. I feel, or I do. From my experience, I lose a bit more of the expressive side of things, and I focus more on just like, oh, it's shape of the head, lol. You know what I mean? I prefer just drawing like this and just, it's cartoony, right? But it's like, it doesn't matter. Cartoony's cool for me. Like being able to just draw simple things like this, like, just makes me happy. I like it when people look at stuff and they just go, that's stupid. You know what I mean? Like if I can make someone laugh or make someone look at my art and go, that's stupid, like that's really cool. But I would like to study more because I want to see how far I can go. I want to see how far I can go in a way, but then I'll give up on that because technical, I'm not that bothered about technical anymore. I recommend to get better at typing without watching. Yeah, I can do that. Now count how many times you said technical. I'll leave that up to you. It's a challenge for you. Right, folks. Thank you all. Thank you all for hanging out. Appreciate it. Thanks for the support on Twitch, the subs and everything. Thanks for sharing your artwork with us. It's always great. We always learn something new. We always get different perspectives. I loved when I used to draw silly cartoons. Keep doing it. Keep going. Wait 1 minute, please. Too late. Thanks, everyone, for hanging out. Appreciate you all. I'll catch you all next Friday. You want to send something, please? Too late. Too late. You've left it too late. Jasmine, thanks for hanging out. Uno Friendo, Really Goose. Appreciate you. Spicy, Talaba, SD0. Moonman. Father. Aki. Bored Owl. Dino Brogo. Maya, love your job. Thank you very much. I work in a shoe store. Federico. Hossein. Peace, everybody. Goodbye. Ceratus, thanks for hanging out. Bored Owl, thanks for hanging out. We'll be back next Friday. Peace.